All right, day 4, Algebra 1 Algebra 1-2A. We're going to do Complete the Square Part 1 today. Part 2 will be on day 5. So what we're looking at today is kind of just getting the basics down for completing the square. This is another method for solving quadratics, which solving quadratics are anything that has an x squared in it. So for example 1, we're just kind of laying the groundwork for how we're going to do completing the square. If we have something like x squared plus 10x, and then plus fill in the blank. Now you'll see on number 2 how this is actually going to work in a full equation. But for this one, we just want to get kind of the process down for what we're doing is completing a perfect square trinomial. All right. Now we only want to do this when a is 1. We also would like for b to be even. We'll do one of these, like I said, on day 5 e-learning stuff. So for today though, b is going to be even. So this is a. This is b, and we're going to find c that's going to complete and make it a perfect square trinomial. So the b is going to be 10. Now I like to make a little just section here that puts my three numbers that we're going to use coming up here on the rest of completing the square. So if b is 10, our rules here, and this is not something that's, you just kind of have to remember it. We'll go over the formula several times, but this would be good to have in your notes to start with. So b, take half and square it. My teacher, when I had algebra, referred to it as the Three Amigos. You can call it whatever you want. Three Musketeers, Three Little Bears, whatever three you can come up with. But anyway, so the first one, if b is 10, right, we're going to have three things here. So b, we're going to take half. Half of 10 is 5. And then we're going to take that and square it. So b over 2 squared, that would be 5 squared is 25. All right, so each of these things, which like I said, we typically call them the Three Amigos, the third one is going to fill in the blank. And so this kind of sounds like it's out of left field right now. Just hang in there with this. You're going to get it figured out. You're going to see a pattern to this. And oftentimes students, once they get the hang of it, this doesn't go too bad. But anyhow, so b, take half and square it is our whole pattern. That will fill in the blank as a 25. Okay? All right, and so what that does is that's going to make this a perfect square trinomial, and that what factors of 25, if I were to do this, factors of 25 that combine to 10, well, it's going to be the perfect square. It's going to be 5 and 5. Even though you got 1 and 25, 5 and 5 work, and so then when I factor it, I would factor it into x plus 5 times x plus 5, right? And then we can rewrite that as x plus 5 squared, because anything times itself is squared. Now, you'll note we use the 10. That's what we used to get started. We took half and then we squared it. So we used the 25 there. The only one, so we've used here and here. The only one we hadn't used until the end is this one. So this should always be whatever goes in here squared. All right, now you're probably thinking, this is out of nowhere here. We got more factoring again. There's not even an equation yet, but I just want to show you this process to start with. If it doesn't make sense here on number 1, just watch all the way through, and we'll keep working at it and get it picked up. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase and move on to number 2. All right, so this time we're going to have an equation. This time for number 2, we've got x squared plus 6x equals 27. All right, so notice I kind of left a blank space there. It's because we're going to create, that's going to be our fill in the blank for completing the square. But if we add something to this side, also have to add something to the other side. It's just our property of equality for algebra. All right, so b this time is 6. So b is 6. We take half, and then 3 squared is 9. So there's my Three Amigos. Right? I like to just have it as a list. We've already used the 6 to get started. The last one, the 9, is what's going to go here and here. Okay? So again, whatever the Three Amigos are, this one fills in the blanks. Now, factors of 9 that combine to 6 are 3 and 3. It should always be and work out that this one, now you can think of it as x plus 3 times x plus 3. But really, this step, I don't require you write it down. You could go straight from here, use this one. It's going to be x plus 3 squared is equal to 36. Okay, so that is the completing the square part. Now, where we're going to throw in something we did earlier during e-learning is radicals. And how do we undo something squared? We take the square root. All right, so this is going to be a lot. But like I said, or I've said this several times, you can pause it. You can go back and watch different parts again. If there's a part that I did that doesn't make sense, just try to rewind it and see what I pointed out. So far, this is how we get to here. We want it to look like this because to undo something squared, we are going to take the square root of both sides. When we do that, the square root and the squared basically cancel each other out, so we get x plus 3 is equal to the square root of 36. Square root of 36 is 6, so we get plus and minus 6. If you recall from radicals, anytime we bring the radical in, we have to account for positive and negative. Now, we're still not solved for x, so we got to subtract the 3. So what happens here, this part sometimes can be confusing, right? We end up with x equals a positive 6 plus 3, right? Or we have x minus 6, sorry, x equals a negative 6 minus the 3. All right, so then our final answer over here, I'm kind of running out of space here, and I don't want to run off the bottom of the screen. X, or 6 plus 3, we get x could equal 9, or negative 6 minus 3, x could equal, oh, I made a mistake there, didn't I? I'm sorry, let's go back and fix that. That's not positive 9. Sorry, positive 6 minus 3, we get 3, and negative 6 minus 3, we get negative 9. So that is our answer, positive 3 or negative 9. All right, so like I said, pause it, do whatever you need to do there to go back. But that's the first one. So hang in there with this. These are a lot to handle at the start. So we're going to spend 2 days on completing the square. You will get the process down. Don't panic right now. If you have questions, feel free to send me a Canvas note. And I'm going to keep going here with the examples just so you have several to pull from. All right, so for number 3, we got x squared plus 2x. I'm going to again leave some space here. We got 48. So this time b is 2, take half is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So there you go. There's our 3 amigos. So we're going to put fill in the blanks. We're going to add 1 to both sides. When we do that, what factors of 1 combined to 2? It would be 1 times 1. It's the only ones we have. It should always be the second one. So x plus 1 squared is equal to 49 now. Okay, so there's that process. Now to undo something squared, we take the square root. X plus 1 is equal to plus and minus. 49 is a perfect square of 7. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. Now, this is what, I kind of ran out of space on that last one, but we get x equals, that'd be positive 7 minus 1, or negative 7 minus the 1. Because plus and minus 7, you can also think as a 7 or a negative 7. That's what I have here. So our final answer ends up being 6 or negative 8. Okay, so there you go. There's number 3 for you to pause and kind of look back on if there's anything I can, just if it helps you, like I said, to pause it. That's what I'm saying. All right, because I know I'm going a little faster than I would probably in class. No, that I wouldn't probably skip through some of this stuff so quick. All right, number 4, we have x squared minus 18x plus 1 is equal to 64. So notice this time we don't have just the binomial on this side, so we're going to actually move this over. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides before we start. So we get x squared minus 18x, then we have fill in the blank equals the 63. When it looks like this, we don't want to do completing the square until we have this format basically ready to go. Okay, so this time b is negative 18, we take half. Now negative 9 squared is a positive 81. All right, so there's my 3 amigos. Make sure this should always be plus. It's always going to be plus something because something squared is in parentheses. Negative times negative is a positive. All right, now factors of 81 that come out of that, you can try to think about it, but it's always going to be this one. So it's going to be x minus 9 squared is equal to, we get 144. So we get a nice round whole number there. We go ahead and take the square root of both sides. To undo something squared, we get x minus 9. This time I'm going to go ahead and write it out as 12 or negative 12. Sometimes students like it written that way, so that when I add 9 to both sides, it's a little bit easier for them to see. So they see 12 plus the 9 is 21, or negative 12 plus the 9 is negative 3. Okay, so there you go. There is number 4. That one's a little tougher. Like I said, I know I'm going through this a little quicker than I would in class, but I want to keep the video as short as possible. I don't want to go on for too long. I do want to give you several options to look at. So there is number 4. Okay, one more left to go here. Number 5. Excuse me. X squared minus 10x is equal to negative 24. Now this one's interesting because it's the first time we're equal to a negative. We're still going to do everything basically the same. Okay, and then we'll see how it plays out. There are times where this might end up no solution. That's not going to happen today though. So maybe for Monday when we get to day 6, or sorry, it'd be day 5 on this stuff. All right, so b is negative 10, take half, and then again, negative 5 squared. Negative times negative is a positive 25. So there you go. We're going to add 25. Sorry, we got our fill in the blanks. Add 25 over there. So here it should always turn out to be the factors of 25 that combine to negative 10. It should always be this one. That's why I have you guys write that out. So that is squared. Here we get a 1. And so we're back to, again, we have a perfect square, or sorry, we have x minus 5 squared. To undo that, we take the square root. We got x minus 5 is equal to plus and minus 1. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. We end up with x equals, that's a positive 1 plus 5, or negative 1 plus 5. Final answer this time we get 6 or 4. There you go. All right, that's going to wrap it up for completing the square today. I know this is a little bit longer video, but there's a little bit more to completing the square. We will review this on our next one for day 5. And I hope everyone has a nice weekend. Take care of yourselves. Try to stay in as much as possible. And hope everyone's staying healthy. If you have any questions or concerns on this, like I said, send me a Canvas message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're all kind of around right now, so I'll get back to you as quick as I can. All right? Thank you guys and have a good day.